Yes, you see, right, this is the Jets 1.0 shirt I'm wearing here. And the Jets just scored their 5th goal, and it's not even the end of the first period. It's Sunday night, and here I am inside making a video so that you don't have to go without. So you're going to be working with Anne and Marissa today, and there'll be handouts, and the fraction subtracting handout looks like this. Okay, there's 4 pages to that. And we'll do a couple easy ones, and then we'll move on to the harder ones, okay? So in fact, we'll probably I'll get you to stop the video about 5 or 6 minutes into this one. Do a few on the first couple pages, and then we'll take it up again. Okay, so let's go with the first page, number 7, and you see 11/16 minus 1/4. Now, these handouts that I gave you, they have the subtraction questions going across. Now, you don't have to do them going across. Nobody says you have to do that. In fact, my preference is to go up and down. So I just go like this. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but let's just go over here. Go 11/16 minus 1/4. Like that. And of course we put our line in there. And I'll bring this over here a little bit. So remember the rule when we're subtracting and adding fractions, we must have a common denominator. Well, we don't have a common denominator, not that I can see. But the common denominator is part of the question. And you can see that 16 is the common denominator here. I can turn a 4th into a 16th. I just have to multiply by 4. So let's do that. I don't do anything to the 16. I don't need to. It's already in the form that we want. Okay, so I'll use red over here, and I'll go like this, 11/16. How's that coming out? Good. Okay, and the 1 times 4 is 4, and 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, there's our new question. Our new question says 11/16 minus 4/16, and that's pretty easy. Answer is 7/16. As I was circling that, I said to myself, you know, you should have checked to see if it could be reduced. Of course, it cannot be reduced. But if it could be reduced, you do that. Okay, always, always, always. You don't have to be told to reduce. It's automatically assumed. All right, so that was pretty straightforward. And I will get you to do one more. And let's flip to the next page, and we'll do number 3. And the next page, handout B, is going to be 40/17 minus 23/17. Okay, so this is page B. And it's number 3, and it's 40/17, and again I'm going to go minus, what is it, 23/17. I didn't leave very much room there, did I? Oh well. Well, when we're subtracting, we need to make sure we have the same denominator. We do. We've got 17ths and 17ths. Can you see what kind of fractions these are? They are improper fractions, but it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. If it's an improper fraction, it does not matter. Don't try to make your question something that it isn't. Okay? So You know what? I just need a little bit more room here. So I'm going to take this off and write it a little bit neater here. There we are. Okay, so we got 17ths. That's all that matters. So 40, subtract 23. Well, I don't know if you can do that in your head or not, but if you have to, go over here. 40, subtract 23. And looks like we're going to have to do the old-fashioned borrowing here. 10 minus 3 is 7, and 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, so that's 17. That part didn't come out very well on the screen, but that doesn't matter. I think you can see it. So what do we have? We have 17 17ths. Now, remember what I said first off in the last video? I said that anything over itself is equal to 1. So there we have it. That is the number 1. That is our answer. This is correct. That's best. Okay? So what I want you to do is pause the video. And right now we're at about just beyond 6.5 minutes. And pause the video, and I'd like you to do about 4 or 5 questions of page A, and then another 4 or 5 questions of page B. And once you've done that, we'll start up again, and I'll give you the last little bit. Okay? All right, so now that we've done that, it's time to move on. And we have from page C. Now let me just check this number here from page C. Yes, this is the one with these bubble charts up top, these cloudy things. Let's see, this page here. And we are going to do 2 8/9 minus 1 2/9. That's the third one down on the left side. Okay, so let's do that. Minus 1 2/9. Now I have to say that this page is not my favorite page, but because it's a bit artificial. You'll see on the top there it's got some tips. It says 4 5/6 subtract 4 1/6. And it tells you to subtract the whole numbers, then to subtract the fractions. Well, yes, but it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest handout, and you know what? We're just going to work with it, okay? So I'm going to just do it on the board. So we have 2 8/9, 1 2/9. It says to subtract the whole numbers first, but you know what? I need to know if I can subtract the fractions, because if I can't subtract the fractions, then I'm in trouble. That's why I say this page is a bit on the artificial side. Can I take 2/9 away from 8/9? Yes, I can. And because I can do that, then I will do that. Okay, so 2 from 8 is 6/9. Okay, so this fraction side has basically taken care of itself. 2 subtract 1 is 1. So there we have our answer, 1 6/9. And if you're thinking, Joe, you're forgetting something, well, don't fret, because I know that 6/9 can be reduced to 2/3. So the answer is 1 2/3. thirds. Okay, now everything on that page, this page with the bubble, the cloudy things, everything on that page fits this bill. Okay, there's nothing difficult about that page. As I said, it's a bit on the artificial side. But never fear, because I have a couple more difficult ones for you coming up. And again, if you have to pause the video just so that everybody can catch up, go ahead and do that. All right, on page D, number 10, we have 3 1/5 subtract 1 1/6. Okay, so this is page D, number 10. Whoops, that's an 11. 3 1/5 subtract 1 1/6. Okay, so you're maybe thinking, well, I thought he just said go up and down, not side to side. Well, I don't want you to get hung up on the fact that it's either that they're all going across or they're going up and down. It doesn't matter. You're going to have your preference. I know that for a fact. As I walk around, next time I see you, I'll see what you do, what your tendency is. All I know now is that I need some number of 30ths, because 30ths are my lowest common denominator. Okay, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to do a little doctoring here. Remember, when I can't turn fifths into sixths no matter what I do. So if you can't see the common denominator, well then let's send this 5 over for a visit over here, and let's send the 6 over for a visit over here, and we're going to change things up. We're going to change the look. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this by 6, multiply this by 6, multiply that by 5, multiply that by 5. And notice the whole numbers don't do anything. In fact, they stay the same. Let's put them down right there. So let's change the look of these fractions then up top. Okay, so 1 times 6 is 6. That's from here. 5 times 6 is 30. That's good. That's what we want. 1 times 5 is 5. And 6 times 5 is 30. Again, that's exactly what we want. Everything looks great. So this guy is 6 30ths. That's 5 30ths. So take the fraction away from the fraction, and what do you end up with? You have 1/30th. And then take 3, subtract 1 is 2. And there's nothing else you can do to that. 2 1/30th is as far as you go. And the more I do these guys, the more I think that going up and down is a much better way to do it. Okay, when we do this, I'll tell you why. If we were ever to do something simple like 47 subtract 18, we line them up. I could give you 47 subtract 18 going across, but the first thing you do, as you've been taught over the years, is to line them up like this. So I would go up and down. In fact, that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of them, is go up and down, and it'll be much better. this concept that we're getting into right away is borrowed from this. Take a look at this. 8 subtracted from 7 can't be done. So what do we do in that case? We got to go, the 7's got to go next door to the 4, and he's got to borrow from here so that this number here will be big enough. And actually, you're not borrowing 1, you're actually borrowing 1/10. So what you do is this, and you know this already. You're going to make this a 3. You're going to take the 1 that you borrowed, which was 10, and that makes that 17. Now 17 minus 8 is equal to 9, as you know, and then 3 minus 1 is 2. So these days they like to call this renaming. We used to call it borrowing, and it's still, we're borrowing, yeah. But there's our answer, 29. Now if you were to go across and do that, that would feel awkward. So I'm glad I had this little discussion with myself. Okay, so here comes the big one of the day. This will be the last one. And let's see how much time I have. I've got 16 minutes so far. Okay, last one of the day. This is still on page D, number 11. It's 5 1/6. 5 1/6. Subtract 3 and 11/12. Okay, so this is as difficult a subtraction of fraction questions as you will get. And the reason why I say that is because this fraction here on the bottom is bigger than that fraction up there on the top. Just changing to a common denominator is not going to be good enough. So, but what is our common denominator? We still need to know that. Well, I can see that our common denominator is going to be 12. So let's change this. I'll use another color here. And we're going to call this, I'm going to skip a little bit of the work. Hopefully you can follow this. So I'm going to change this to 5 2/12. Okay, so that's not that bad. You can do that in your head. This stays the same. This is 3 11/12. Uh-oh. We've got problems here. At least I see a problem. If I have 11 of something and you have 2 of something, and I want to take my 11 away from 2, there's no possible way I can do that. I guess there is if I get into the negative numbers, but we're not there yet. So if you have 2 of something and I want to come and grab 11 of them, that doesn't make any sense. It's impossible to do that. So what I have to do is I have to borrow. And this is where the renaming comes in. I know that 5, this is pretty simple, 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. I know that. But I'm going to call this 5. Watch this. I'll do it in another color here. I'm going to call that 4. Now I borrowed 1. But I can't just borrow any 1. I got to borrow a special 1. And the special one that I'm talking about is going to be 12/12. So do you see that 5 and 4 12/12 are the same amount? I'm giving you a chance to think this over because it's pretty profound. So 5 is equal to 4 plus 1, but I'm renaming my 1 to 12 twelfths. So 4 and 12 twelfths. But I already have this 2 twelfths. I can't forget about that. So the final comment here is going to be that this is equal to 4 and 14 twelfths. 4 and 14 twelfths. If you can understand this concept, you're good to go. And I'm just going to go over here and send this over this way. So 3 and 11 twelfths. Sorry, it's getting a little bit messy there. So 4 and 14 twelfths, subtract 3 and 11 twelfths. Well, let's do the fractions, then the whole number. So 14 subtract 11 is 3 twelfths. 4 take away 3 is 1. Is that the final answer? Well, yeah, sort of. There's just one little thing, right? And that is, I wonder which one of you I should put on the spot right now. 1 and 3 twelfths is equal to, you know it, 1 and 1/4. There you go. All done. Okay, so that should pretty much sum everything up for this topic of subtracting fractions. Okay, so Marissa or Anne or one of your classmates will be making sure everybody's got a copy of this handout. And don't do everything on every single page, like all in a row, you know, like do some on each, and you'll be fine. And I shall see you on Thursday. Take care.